intro to the workshop. So this would be happening. The partner would introduce you. They would read your bio, give a little bit of background. But if you'd like to start with that, that's always nice at the beginning of these recordings, so that if I do share it with the chapter, they can see who you are. A little bit about like your background and why you came to PCA, and then you can jump right in.
All right. Hey, Kelly and Heather, before we start, all of a sudden I was hearing an echo from Heather that I didn't have before, but it just.
I don't hear one.
Can you? How's that?
That's good. Maybe it was just temporary. Okay, let's not worry about it.
Okay, cool. I was gonna say I didn't do anything. No matter. If it happens again, let me know. We can stop and let things reset. So we'll start out here. And first of all, I want to welcome everybody and thank you for coming to today's PCA Double Goal Coaching Workshop. My name's Heather Eakins. I am currently coaching at ASU Women's Lacrosse, along with several different locations in Arizona. I do some club programs. I've been coaching for over 20 years at all levels, from the youth level all the way up. I have coached internationally for the German women's national team, also for lacrosse. I did actually not play lacrosse in my high school years. It wasn't available to me. I was a basketball player. So there might be a possibility that I have been in the same boat as some of you sitting out there today, where you want your kids to play and a coach is like, hey, we need a coach, and you were voluntold. So been there, even though I've been around the bush a while, the track for quite a while. The first thing we're going to do today, though, is you are all here. I want to thank you for coming, and let's go ahead and get you some credit for today's class. So the first thing we're going to do is go ahead and get out your phones, your cell phones. Those of you that do not have your cell phones with you today because you were thinking that you wanted to be polite and leave it in your car because you're distracted because you have several children, I understand. Catch up with me after class and we will go ahead and I'll get you that information to make sure that you get credit. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to give 3 bits of information. On the first line, I need you to go ahead and have the pound sign or hashtag sign for those of you, depending on the age differences we have here. Some of you might not know the hashtag sign is. Go ahead and put that in along with today's workshop number. Sorry about that. And today's workshop is workshop 051821. After that, first and last name. And then after that, go ahead and put your email address. Make sure in that first line, go ahead and have no spaces between the hashtag or the pound sign or the code for today's demonstration or workshop. Once you've all done that, you should all receive a notification from PCA saying that you sent it. That has happened. Go ahead and raise your hand if you've received it. Am I?
We're here. Yep, we're in.
Okay. All right. So, like I said, this is the PCA Double workshop. And in the workshop, we're going very good. I have a lot of your positive culture. At the same time, all of you have a lot of information for us. One of the things that I just from a coach. So let's make sure that we today, if you could just keep an open mind, be very willing to share, be very willing to be uncomfortable, because we know that's where change happens, and to be vulnerable. There's some things that you might be having to question or take a look at yourself and answer in a very honest way. So let's go ahead and let's just have a great fun workshop, and we will go from there. So the next thing we're going to talk about is there's some signs you see on the wall here. You've got one that says 1 to 5 years, one that says 6 to 15 years, and one that says 20 years. I want everybody to go ahead and get up and go stand next to this sign that represents how many years they've been coaching at any level.
All right. Well,
all right. Nice job. Yep. Nice job. Looks like I've got 2 people in the room that have coached more than 15 years with me. Congratulations. Those of you that are brand new, congratulations for being here. I'm a big advocate where I've seen coaches coach to the last way they were coached. So some of you that are new might not have been coached this way, and some of you that have been around for a while, this might not have been the way that you've coached up until this point. So congratulations and thank you for being here today and wanting to make a change, or maybe just, you know, support the roles that you already have, that you're doing, that you're giving your team. So the next slide here, if you take a look, you'll see a lot of information about who PCA is. Does anybody know how long PCA has been around or when they were established?
I'm going to guess 10 years.
10 years.
50 years.
50 years. I would love if it was 50 years. It's actually, this is their 20-year anniversary. They were established in 1998 at Stanford University. So they've been around for quite a while. As you can tell, we've trained tons of coaches. And we'll get into what the PCADevZone.org is a little bit later, but that's a bunch of resources. And so they're here, they teach you, we train you, and we stick around to help you and give you the tools. So the next thing we have is positive coaching. How many of you would like to share what you think or what positive coaching means to you? What comes to mind when you hear the term positive coaching? Anybody like to share that?
Enthusiasm.
Enthusiasm. Ruben, nice.
Yeah.
I think the coach being a cheerleader for the team.
Coach being a cheerleader for the team. Nice. Okay, those are great answers.
Not yelling at kids.
Okay.
Good role modeling. Good role modeling by the coach.
Good role modeling by the coach. What is good? What do you mean by good role modeling?
How to treat the officials, how to respond when we're not playing well. So for example, I've seen some coaches get really flustered and angry and frustrated if things aren't going well. Yet they want their team not to be that way.
Okay. I see. Good. Absolutely. So on the next slide here, which is slide 5 for those of you, Kelly, do you want to go ahead and read the phrase as far as what does this phrase mean to you, the one in blue?
Sure. It says creating an atmosphere that supports best possible performance.
Okay. So why don't you go ahead and to the person next to you and give them examples of what that means on your team, of what creating an atmosphere that supports the best possible performance. Okay. Go ahead and switch. So for me, I know that I've coached a lot of different teams, and sometimes I say to player each year, I feel like saying you are the best team I've coached. The longer I'm with the team, the better that they seem to be. But I will say for me, when I first started coaching, this is not how I coached. I did not model PCA whatsoever. And it changed. I got into it when I started coaching for U.S. Lacrosse, and it changed for me. It allowed me, it gave me support because I knew it was there. I knew that positivity worked. But it gave me the support and resources to be able to go out there and use different atmospheres or different avenues for coaching and bringing the best performance out of my players. At PCA, we do understand more and more what it is like to coach in a positive manner. There's been so many different studies that have been done. I know that Barbara Fredrickson, if we go ahead and take a look at this next slide here, Nicole, thanks for joining us. This is a very interactive workshop, and I just want to let you know that we're going to be calling on people, and you just got chosen, if you don't mind, if you can. Yep. I don't know if you can or not. If you know the PowerPoint, would that be?
I'll pull it up for her.
Okay. So it would be slide 7.
There you go. Oh, her microphone. She doesn't have a microphone.
Oh, you're muted. Okay.
She's on mute, but she might not have a microphone. You can unmute. You can't unmute.
Okay. Well, I'm going to pretend to be you.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. So Nicole, I'm going to actually have you read the negative or the blue parts of it, and I will read the black parts of it. So this is going to be fun because I'm going to change my voice. So the first part of the slide said there's a perception that the best way to get what you want out of employees or players is by negativity or threats. But negativity doesn't work as well as positivity. I don't know if that's what you sound like. And also, she made the statement of positive emotions are especially contagious, and a leader's positive emotions are more contagious than anyone else's. And there's tons of evidence to support that. Tons of evidence to support that. The key here is understanding, that you as the coach have the most impact on your team. I was talking to one of my co-coaches, I guess. She doesn't live in Arizona here. She actually lives in North Carolina. But we were talking. She was at a school. My kids are much older now, but it's a field trip. That's what it was. A school field trip. She was helping chaperone it with a couple other moms, and she heard a couple moms talking about this soccer practice where the coach sometimes shows up, sometimes doesn't. And then she made the statement that, well, are you going to go to practice today? And she's like, I don't know if I'm going to go to practice. The mom was like, I don't know if we're going to go to practice or not, and I was just like, wow, by the coach not showing up, it's telling the kids that it's okay to not show up and not communicate that they're not showing up, which then the parent is reinforcing that to begin with by saying the same thing. Hey, you can show up, you cannot show up. And in the same turn, she knows the coach, and the coach is like, I never get anybody to show up to practice. I don't understand what's going on. So in this instance, if you have that, has that ever happened where you don't have kids show up to practice, you don't understand what it is, why they're not showing up to practice, and we might need to take a look at how much we're showing up and how communication we're having. Has that happened to anyone? I've been here 20 years. I'm going to say yes. Mm-hmm. There's times that I didn't show up and I didn't let anybody know. Mm-hmm. I don't do that anymore, thank goodness, but that is a possibility. And you do need to reevaluate how you're coaching, and what message you're actually sending to the players and to the parents. The next slide here is just another, it tells about Sports Illustrated, and just another research that's been done on the positivity of coaching and how being positive works. We can go all the way back to Pavlov, and you give the dog, the dog wants a treat. He's going to go do a job and he's going to get a treat because he wants that positive reinforcement for doing a certain job. I was also talking to one of my colleagues at US Lacrosse, and another company that I'm working with right now is called Passion and Motion. And they've got a similar concept as far as positivity and culture change. And we all agree that we're kind of at the tipping point of how things used to be, how negativity used to work in coaching. And actually how negativity, I'm sure some of you have ways that negativity has worked for you. Does anybody have an idea of how negativity or an example of how negativity might have actually produced a positive result for you as far as being a coach?
I just know that when my kids aren't paying attention, my little 15 aren't paying attention, I raise my voice and yell, they pay attention.
Okay.
It gets them on the ball.
Okay. Absolutely.
I wouldn't say, I don't consider it negativity, but I've had consequences for when we don't do it the way we need to do it. And it's produced results. I don't consider that being negative. I consider it being holding my players accountable and being a strong leader. So I don't know.
Okay. All right. And I mean, we can do that in a positive and in a negative way. Absolutely. If a raise of hands here, when it comes to who actually controls the positivity or the culture or the positive culture and atmosphere on your team, a raise of hands who thinks it might be the parents. The parents are who kind of pushes that. Do you think it's the parents?
Well, I think they influence it. I think they impact it.
Okay. What about your players?
Same thing.
Yeah.
What about you as a coach?
Yeah. And I agree. I agree. The coach is the strongest factor, but I think there's lots of factors.
I do agree that there are lots of factors, but you hit it right on the nose there when you said that the coach is, he or she is the catalyst for creating the atmosphere of positivity, or whatever atmosphere it is. You're going to have one, whatever atmosphere it is. They are and that's that last story I just told you. That's where it came from. The coach showed that it was okay to show up once in a while, and to, whether he or she meant to or not, kind of not go 100% and give as much effort as they possibly could for coming to practice, to being there, and for the commitment, which in turn that allowed the parents to be like, they modeled that exact same example, and the children are now seeing it from two different people that they definitely look up to, that it's okay to not be there. So if we take a look here, there are plenty of elite coaches that agree with you, Ruben, that the head coach is the coach of the team, is the catalyst for change, for positive culture on the team. If you take a look on this slide here, we show about 8 different people, but if you take a look in your book, I believe it's on page 8, you will see that there's a whole nother list with a lot more people on it. I'm a lacrosse coach, so it's easy for me to go ahead and take Janine Tucker. Right now, what's going on in the NBA? The Celtics coach. Is everybody familiar with the Celtics coach?
Yes. Okay,
Brad Stevens. He accredits his positive coaching style to being one of the, I personally think the coach has gone from being an assistant coach at college, at the college level, all the way to an elite professional basketball coach in the period of time that he did. I don't know anybody that's done that. Okay. So I love that he accredits his positive coaching style, and he stands behind it, and he doesn't question it. And it's the negativity. Was there possibly a time where he's had to deal with negativity? Yes, absolutely. Me as a coach to talk about negativity, that I kind of jumped there. I do apologize. Negativity. Gonna back up here for a second, but having negativity actually work. Having negativity have a positive experience. When I first started coaching lacrosse, once again, I was voluntold. When I first started coaching lacrosse, I was coaching underneath a coach that I thought was a goddess. Right? I mean, she knew everything. They went to state championships every year in upstate New York. All they did was win. I mean, they annihilated people. They did so well. Her players, though, at the end of the season, did not like her. They liked nothing about her. They questioned halfway through the season whether they wanted to be there. I didn't understand that. They were winning. They won every year. They've won championships. What more would they want? And in that instance, that's an example of a negative coaching style that has produced. Like you said, you're trying to, Ruben, you had said that you try to kind of pull the best out of your players. You try to reinforce some of your team goals and their individual goals. And there's 2 different ways to do it. And I look back now and just really wonder if we could have gotten, or she could have gotten more, or more out of the players. Not necessarily on the winning aspect, because that's all she was about, was winning. It didn't matter. It did not matter. And I don't think she was doing it intentionally. I think she was doing it because she was at the atmosphere of, you need to win. You've won for the last 8 years. There's no reason you should not win this year. And so she would do everything that she possibly could, even kind of in harassment, or very aggressive, verbal confrontation with the players. And so I just wonder what she could have gotten out of it, were that these players, as I talk to them now, and they have a much more positive experience about her. That's what I think the difference could be. Not that her players couldn't have won any more or less than they did, but that looking back, their experience was a much more enjoyable one, which is really the reason I coach. It's the reason I get in and out of coaching at the different levels, is because I do want the kids to have fun. I want to have fun. How many of you go to practice and are like, I'm not having fun? Oh, wait, I don't want to raise my hand. I'm not having fun, right? But how many of you are, that's a reason. Is that a reason that you coach, is for fun? Is to have fun, for you to have fun and your players to have fun? Yes. Okay. Is it also a reason? I mean, we all know that we want to win, correct? So we want to make sure that we combine that love for winning, which is the first thing we're going to do at PCA as far as the double goal coach is concerned, is focus in on that love for winning, but also combine it with teaching the kids life lessons. Have the kids look back and remember more than just that they won. So why we agree that positivity works when it comes to coaching your players, correct?
Yep.
Yes, I've heard that from all of you. All of you are really on board with positivity works. So why is there so much negativity in sports? Why do we think there's still, are we all on social media? Majority of us are on social media? Yes. Do we have any of us seen in the last 3 weeks things come up across your social media where a parent is complaining about an official, or a coach is complaining about an official, or I don't know, or the complaints, the negativity that comes out at all? Have we seen that on social media? I have.
Yeah.
Which is great for me. It creates opportunities to jump in there. But so why is it there? Why if majority of these coaches know that being positive, bringing the best out in your kids, and reinforcing what you want to see on a regular basis works best, why are we still coaching this way?
Because they don't have a better way.
Because they don't have a better way. They don't know of a better way.
Just education.
Yeah, I think sometimes, we're human, and if something outside of sports is bothering us or bringing us down or making us angry, that we don't always have the skills to leave it behind and flip the switch and be positive when we show up at the field. Okay.
All right. I just heard somebody in back say that she about. But I want to go back to what Kelly just said as far as the coaches. Yes, is there a lack of training? Is there a lack of educating the coaches on how to coach in this positive manner, and what that looks like, and the tools to support them in their venture? Ruben, you look a little confused on that one.
No, I'm not confused.
Okay. All right. I wasn't sure if you could hear me either. So, so the research does say that positive coaching, positive culture, you're going to get the best out of your athletes. So at PCA, we use what research says, what the coaches' experiences are, and we help to develop an approach that does create better athletes for you, does create better people. That is the PCA model. Better people, better athletes, better people. Because it is about better athletes. We aren't just about going in, oh, hi, leader, like you said, hi, good job, everybody gets a trophy. That's not what this is about. This is about, PCA is about helping you bring out the best in your athletes, bring them to the best possible performance that they can have at any given moment, while also finding the teachable moments within coaching, which I feel are moments that I don't think you can get anywhere else. And we as coaches are very, very lucky to be able to be put in front of these children and to have these lives that we can find these moments and these opportunities to teach them. So the next thing we're going to do is take a look here at the support that you have from us. So we've got our resources, we've got which is our coaches and what research says. We're going to show you how to take and have a win first, and then create a better athlete. We're going to show you how to take those two models and bring them together to have a better athlete and to have a better player. We have definite support and tools for you to use. And we will also go over those at the end. Right up top here just shows, the book, which you all have in front of you right now, has loads of resources in it. And then we also have the website. And you'll get that web address again if you missed it on that one. So let's go ahead and to your partner right next to you, let's take a look at what's on the screen here, which for Nicole, if she's still there, what makes a great youth experience for kids. So I'll give you 30 seconds to do a pair share. And with the partner there, go ahead. How would you answer that question? Okay, we've done that. So a meaningful experience for athletes. Kelly, if you can go ahead and read, I'm not even going to read the black here, but if you can go ahead and read the 3 blue words, that would be great.
Connected, improve, and with integrity.
All right. If your players get all 3 of these things, what do you think might happen, Ruben?
They'll play better.
They'll play better. Anything else from anybody? Oh, Sue in the back of the room there.
They'll have more fun. They'll have more fun. They'll
come to practice.
Come to practice. They'll come to practice.
They might want to keep playing the sport.
Nicole, you have a microphone.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hi.
Do you have anything additional to what they've said?
I think that it would help their overall improvement in the sport itself because of their emotional state in that moment.
Okay.
Their ability to get better.
Yes, absolutely. Ruben, did you say that they're going to want to play again next year? Continue to play the sport? I think
more likely if they get those 3 things. If those 3 things are part of their experience, I would think so.
And so as coaches, a lot of you here are actually with a school that has an athletic director. Or if you're not, if you're like myself here in Arizona and it's a club sport, but you still have to, report back to a board. Yes, you've said that they want winning. All right. But I also, how many of them want the players to return next year to play? Is that one of your goals at the end of the season? I've seen some coaches tell me that that's actually written into their contract as a bonus, the amount of girls that continue to stay or players that continue to stay. Sorry, I say girls. It's players that continue to stay. So at PCA, how do we make this happen? How do we help you make this happen? We have the basic, there's 3 components of the coaching model here at PCA. We've got filling the emotional tank, the elm tree of mastery, and honoring the game. Each one of these things directly addresses connected, improving, and integrity. All right. The next slide here, Ruben has told us that he's going to give an impersonation of Herm Edwards. So that's what we'll do instead of watching the video. You'll have 10 seconds here, Ruben. Come on.
Yeah, let me think for just a second. Some kids are going to win. Sometimes you're going to win. Sometimes you're going to lose. But learn how to compete. That's the most important thing. And how you handle winning and losing, that's going to impact your life.
There you go.
Yeah, I think when the book of your life is written, will it say that you made a difference?
Well, which is perfect because that's what's on our next slide. So go ahead. Pair share again. I'm actually going to give you 45 seconds. You can get up and pair share with a different person. I think I would recommend that right now. Go ahead and find a different person you have not shared with already today. And what would you like people to say about you as a coach? All right. All right, 30 seconds has gone by. Go ahead and switch roles. Boom, boom. All right, great. We switch roles. Did a lot of you get some great stories?
Yep.
Did some of you get some things that you're like, ooh, I want my kids to think of that, me like that. I didn't even think of that. That's actually an opportunity. I did. I'm looking forward to hearing about some of these. So now let's go ahead and take a look at how we can truly be positive coaches. This workshop is double goal coaching. Okay. First goal is to strive to win. All right. The second, and I feel, and so does PCA, and I get the feeling from this entire room that you believe also, more important, it's teaching life lessons. We touched on that a little bit earlier. The coach that is not a positive coach is a win-it-all coach, or win-at-all-cost coach, I should say. What is the same about a PCA coach and a win-at-all-cost coach?
They both want to win.
They both want to win. Exactly. What's the difference, though?
The win-at-all-cost coach doesn't care what they do to get there.
Doesn't care what they do to get there. And what's in that blue circle that's on the screen right now?
Life lessons.
Coach wants to teach life lessons. Exactly. So what are some life lessons, you can just go ahead and yell this out, that any of your players might have learned from you as coaches? And those of you that this might be your first time coaching, you have not coached any team yet, excuse me, what are some life lessons you want your players to learn from you this season?
That academics come first.
Academics come first.
Teamwork.
Teamwork.
If you have a choice to make a teammate look better or yourself look better, choose your teammate.
Oh my goodness, I love these. Those are absolutely great. We could continue to go on and on because we're amazing coaches, and that's just what we do. And we want our little people, even if there are Division I athletes, to go out in that world and be ready for it. We feel that's how I feel. So at at PCA, we want to combine. So we talked about teaching the life lessons, about all the different ways that you want your athletes to leave you and the lessons you want to teach, and knowing that there's plenty of teachable moments that are out there, whether it be for the sport itself or whether it just be for the life lessons. But I do want to let you know that at PCA, the two goals as a double goal coach work together. Striving to win and teaching life lessons. Because the more that the kids compete, the more that they're out there on the field or on the turf or on the court, the more opportunities we're going to have to teach them life lessons. It is just how kids work. It is just how the atmosphere that we have set up for them. And if there's all those moments, those are moments for you. Those are moments for you to learn and get better and teach as a coach all the things that you just said you wanted to get from your players when they leave you. Do you care about winning? Absolutely. I compete with my GPS. Don't ever tell anybody that, but I compete with my GPS. You know, it says I'm going to be there in 28 minutes. I'm like, I bet I can be there in 25. Okay, we're all competitors. That's why we're here. But we also know that it's more important to teach the players lessons, life lessons, good life lessons. Life lessons that they make themselves and their community and their families and their teammates very proud of the decisions that they're making. So in your sport, Nicole, what sport do you teach or you coach?
Softball.
So you compete with my lacrosse. We'll talk after. No.
Sure.
Can you give me an example of where the two goals, striving to win and teaching life lessons, might actually collide in your sport?
Sure. I could give you, based on my experience in my sport, I coached a team that we were not as successful as we could have been, and that had to do with just the attitudes and the entitlement that came in with my group of girls and their parents. And so that year became a very valuable lesson in what it takes to strive to win, the difference in just showing up and relying on our so great ability that we think we have, and that it takes effort, and then that effort then translates into other areas, and the feeling of defeat, and learning that defeat came because of lack of effort, and then changing, and so and then connecting those between the softball field and then everything else. Yes,
I completely agree, and I think that as we go on with this workshop today, you're going to see some things that you probably know as a coach now, because that happened to you, as you were saying, as a player, but see as a coach that you can definitely use that experience to help your players now in just a different mindset that we're going to help you and give you tools to help them get into. So as we transition into our very first principle for PCA, which is filling the emotional tank. I just want to remind you that we're going to go over 3 things: filling the emotional tank, the Elm Tree of Mastery, and honor the game. And that's it. And then we would lead into filling the emotional tank. All right.
Thank you.
That started out rough. That was.
Why do you say that?
I don't know. I just felt like it was very rough. Which lets me know that I don't do a good job when I talk to my parents, as I thought I did, explaining how possibly my season's going to go. Because that's what I try to think about, is how I have my preseason meeting with the parents and the coaches and the players to kind of give them an idea of what our culture is and what we're looking to do, and that being a positive coach and being in some of the things that happen on the sideline or at practice, why they happen as a coach and what the parents can do, and just the foundation, I guess, isn't as strong. I just felt like the foundation, which is what I feel this the first beginning of this, obviously this workshop is, didn't flow as easily. Maybe that's it. That's all. Didn't flow as easily for me. It had me jumping a little bit. I wanted to go places before I talked about other things. So that's.
Well, I mean, I think, you have a blessing and a curse. You have a lot of stories, a lot of experience, and a ton of information. And that's why we do have the trainers practice the beginning of the workshop, because I think it's the most difficult part. When you have one of the principles, you've got the theory, the principle, and then the tools. So it's it's linear. It's easy to understand. It's great to use exact examples in that principle. This introduction is literally just that. It's supposed to be a little teaser, a little introduction, set the foundation for the whole workshop. So the struggle is, when do you want to tell them enough to keep them interested? You don't want to tell them so much that they want to hear what's coming. You can't give them everything. So the reason that I keep it to 20 minutes is because that's kind of a good rough.
Right. Which I totally went over this time. I know that.
You went like 34, but that's not to say I've never gone longer in an introduction, because, once you get people up and talking, but if you actually had us talk all the times that you had us pair and share talk, you probably would have gone about 40 minutes. And that would cut into the tools. And that's what the coaches want. They want to hear, what can I do? How can I be better? So I think, and I have some comments for you. I think you did a lot of great things. And there's a lot of things that I probably would cut out and just save it for another part of the workshop. Save it to the tank. Save it till you get to honoring the game. Don't give it all to them in the beginning.
Okay. And I agree. That's, as I'm going through this, I'm like, okay, I'm trying to now do too many activities. I'm trying to do too much interaction. So maybe like 3 interactions in, like, I literally was like, some people are talking, I'd like just put an X, like, nope, not going to do that.
Yeah.
Like I could feel it. I could see it. And even though I've done it with like people here, like my kids or whatever, which they're even harder, they're worse to do it, because they'll laugh at you and be like, yeah, I never had a positive coach because you're my mom, things like that. But yeah, that was a little note I just wrote to myself, that cut those right down, give them the meat of what we're about to do, let them do a little bit of sharing, and save a majority of the other activities for the 3 different parts of.
Yeah.
So, okay.
And I think and it's funny, because the first comment I put when you did honoring the game last week was very concise, and I think for the honoring the game principle, you went like, I don't know how many minutes, you went like exactly 20 minutes, and you were concise and you were to the point. And, today I just felt like you were trying to add in too much, which again, if you give them all the information up front, they're going to tune out. So I think you get the point on that one. But because Ruben and Nicole have not been to your quote unquote workshop before and seen you, what were some things that you guys liked? Maybe I'll put Ruben on the spot first, or Nicole, whichever one wants to jump. What's something that you really liked about what Heather did? And then do you have a suggestion specifically, truthfully and specifically, that can help her the next time out?
Can I go, Ruben?
Yes.
Okay. So like Kelly mentioned, I love that you have such an incredible background in stories that like can touch on all of those aspects. I envy that as a former trainer. I still train sometimes, but I feel like I run out of stories and I don't have the experience to be able to, when a coach asks me certain questions, I feel like that knowledge base that you have, I love. And I think that is going to be a great asset for you. Truthful and specific praise. One of the best feedbacks that I ever got in this process was that I don't have to read like every bullet point or every word or even every slide, because 9 times out of 10, every coach in that room can also read. And so sometimes it's just like a background for me continuing to talk, and then you click the next slide. Because especially here, I don't know if this is the case elsewhere, but I found most of our workshops are not the 90 minutes. And so the ability to know that I don't have to read every word for them. Most of the time when there's something behind you, coaches are reading ahead of you anyways and things like that. So I know that I would spend time giving an example for every single bulleted point on there, and then I'd run out of time and I wouldn't even get to honoring the game or things like that. And so that would be my feedback to practice, is that knowing that everybody around you is going to get it all, and just pick like the most incredibly important and the best that you think you can talk on from that slide, and then go from there.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks, Nicole. That's good advice. The other part is too, you're sending them home with a book, and at the end, you're telling them about all the other resources they have. So I tell coaches right up front, I'm not going to tell you every single thing you need to know about positive coaching. I'm hopefully going to motivate you to want to go out and find out more and practice it and try it out on your teams and see what works and see what doesn't work. So it's almost better if you're not giving them every single thing on the slide, because then they'll be like, wait, you didn't talk about that. What does that mean? Let me go. So thanks, Nicole. Ruben?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, some of the things I liked, I liked your self-introduction. I thought it was concise and very powerful. You brought credibility to yourself and to the workshop right away with your self-introduction. I liked how when I mentioned role modeling, you asked, what do you mean by role modeling? I think that's a great quality as a trainer. Whether you weren't sure what I meant, if you weren't sure what I meant and you asked me, I think it's good, because you don't want to misunderstand somebody. And even if you know what I meant, but you wanted me to elaborate so that other people had a better understanding, I just thought either reason, it's a good thing to ask follow-up questions sometimes. I liked the fact that you mentioned that you didn't always coach this way. I like that. I will say that on the flip side, I got the feeling that you felt, I got the feeling that you were assuming that I also didn't coach that way, and that I needed to make changes in my coaching, and that I'm not a positive coach. And whether you were assuming that or not, I got that feeling. And yeah, so I don't think that's a healthy thing, right? In the workshop.
No, that's I'm glad you said that, because that wasn't my, like when you said that, I was like, oh wow, okay, I definitely need to be very, very aware of that, because
some of the things that made me think that is you use the word change. This is about changing how we coach. Everybody. I encourage everybody to have an open mind. Kelly, I don't know how you feel, Nicole. I try to go into a workshop, no matter what people look like, what I know about them. I try to go into a workshop with a mindset that they're either positive coaches already, or that they want to be positive coaches, and that they're with me, and that they're with PCA, and So does that make sense?
No, it makes, well. It doesn't make sense, but it makes sense. That wasn't what I was trying to make anybody feel like. And by saying change, I need to change some words there, I will say, because I was more in the fact of, you're here as coaches, you already want to make a change or help reinforce your coaching style already. And I believe is a terminology that I said, but the fact that I made you feel that way, that was not my intent whatsoever. That was, you're here, which makes me know that you kind of, or hope that you believe in it, regardless of whether you're here because you have to be or don't have to be. That's not mine to know or but it is very concerning that it came across as me thinking that your coaching style was wrong.
Yeah, and quite honestly, this workshop opening, I think that it lends itself. Jim Thompson talked about this workshop opening being to convince people that positivity works better than negativity. That we open with a hard push, a hard sale. That this is the way to do it. And you know, Kelly, I'm just reminded that I think this opening can be problematic, you know, especially for new trainers. So
yeah. And yeah. I mean, not that it's problematic. I just think it's something that we as trainers have to make sure that, you know, you set the right tone, as you said. And I mean, I have heard trainers come in and basically tell everyone in the room that they have to change how they coach and be a better coach, you know, which for some, okay, they might be like, all right, I need this. For others, it's like, I don't really want to be lectured for the next 90 minutes. So I go in with the same attitude that we all know coaches out there that have been negative. You know, I talk about the coaches out there. You guys in the Coventry Soccer Association, I know, are really trying to get better and make your job more fun and keep the kids to love the sport and keep the parents on your side. You know, that's really my quick little setting the tone for the workshop. No matter what happens out there, no matter what you see on social media, no matter what's in society here, I know you guys are all about making yourselves better. So let's move on.
And more reassurance, as you say, Kelly, and what Ruben said, that they like what you just said. Absolutely. Because that was my thought process in my mind, and it needs to be verbalized to them so they don't create their own stories inside their head as far as how I feel about them as coaches. Yeah. Like Ruben just did. Because that's going to take somebody like Ruben and make a wall, you know, that we don't want put up there, you know, because he doesn't want to hear from me, who's been coaching for 15 years, that the way he's doing things is wrong. So.
Yeah, I also think the other thing that's going to help you, and this is something that we have probably over a dozen U.S. lacrosse trainers that I've worked with, and I think I brought this up to you the last time, especially U.S. lacrosse, U.S. hockey, where trainers are used to longer workshops. You're used to having these coaches for a longer period of time. PCA is not like that. You have them, as Nicole said, sometimes not even for a full 2 hours or 90 minutes. Sometimes you might have an hour. You might have an hour and 15 minutes. So you have to be so careful to just hit the strong points, make a connection, have them engaged in challenge, and move on and keep it going.
I think that's actually easier. I think I was worried about what I might miss that would be detrimental to missing it. So I tried to hit a lot. And so I mean, just hearing that makes it easier I feel weight taken off my shoulder.
Oh yeah.
Weight got put back on with I don't want any coach to feel the way that Ruben, you know, said that he might have felt by what I've said. So
thanks, Ruben.
Thank you, Ruben.
I have a couple things though that I do want to point out that I did like, and just a couple suggestions. So the one thing I felt like you really did have a great handle on the material. As I said, sometimes too much is a curse as well. So I think it'll be easier to pare down than it will be to add in, which is good. I also think that you do a lot of things to get us to interact, as you said, sometimes too much. On your third round of pair share, people are like, oh, I don't want to share anymore. So, you know, spread that out, do a little pair share in the beginning, do a little pair share maybe in a half hour, or there's, you know, the ways to get people to be involved in a workshop. You can do pair share. You can do voting, thumbs up, thumbs down, stand up, sit down, clap to vote twice if you agree, once if you disagree. Get them into groups. You know how to, you know, do that right. At the beginning, move them to a group, or move to this side of the room, or move to that side of the room. So, you know, I think that the fallback of pair share, turn to a partner, sometimes I'll just have them all call out, or I'll pass a beach ball around and have them just yell out when they catch the ball. Something else besides pair share is just really great to have, and you know that already. I also like the way you said, this is not how I coached, but I would like to hear what made you change. So, I mean, I think, you know, you said this is not how I coached before. Pull that in to go one step further, you know, but I realized blah, blah, blah. Or what I was finding was I was going home and I was miserable. Or, you know, and this is the stories I hear from a lot of coaches that I used to coach for years. I'd go home angry, frustrated, stressed out. My heart rate was higher. And then I realized, wait, there's got to be a better way to do this, because I am doing this. It is a game, and I'm doing it because I love the kids, and I'm coming home with a feeling that it's not feeling like that. So I had to. So I thought that was great too. I like the way you said I was a basketball coach. My daughter's high school lacrosse coach coached basketball at Penn, of all places, and she, you know, she's one of the best lacrosse coaches I've ever seen. So I think that was cool the way you said, like, if you're anything like me and you were voluntold to get in here, I thought that was good. The other thing, I want you to go back, Heather, when you watch this, make sure that you're asking purposeful questions. And this is something that I was actually critiqued on a long time ago. Don't ask questions just for the sake of interaction. Like you said, raise your hand, or think about who influences the culture. Do you think the parents influence it more, or the kids, or the coaches? And I think that's kind of a tricky question, because they all do. So make sure when you ask a question that it has a really strong, purposeful answer that you're trying to get us to, unless it's a discussion where you want us to discuss and come up with the pros and cons of both. So I just think that question was a little tricky.
My original question was, who do you feel is a catalyst for the positive? My coaching was to get them to say that the coach was a catalyst.
Oh, okay.
As it came out, it didn't come out that way, so I had to then ad-lib the rest of the question and let it go and hope that somebody gave me something to bite on and pull it back into where I wanted it to go.
And of course, we wouldn't do that for you, so no. I do like the Brad Stevens reference, though, that you said, and just FYI, so he started coaching in 2001, so he's only been coaching for 17 years, and he graduated from college in 1999. Which I only remember that because my daughter was born right around the time when he graduated from college. And I remember thinking, my gosh, like in my daughter's lifetime, he went from a college senior to an NBA coach. Like that's pretty phenomenal. So
I didn't know when he graduated, but I was like, I know that he went from like getting $18,000 5 years ago to one of the top elite NBA coaches.
Right. And how do you do that if you don't have 40 years experience? You know, you do that because of what you do and the results that it makes. So I think that's a great point to bring up. I thought that was great. Take out about 5 minutes of the part that you talked about negativity. I think this can turn into a negativity venting session. And I think you went on a little bit too long about negativity.
I agree.
These are positive workshops. So we can mention negativity, mention why. The question's right on the slide. Why is there so much negativity? Punch it and move on. Because if not, I've had people, and I don't know if Nicole can say this too, but I've had people in workshops that want to tell you their story all day about how negative the parents are, or the other coaches are, or the kids are. And, you know, you don't want to open up that can of worms. So hit the negativity and move on. I like the stress in winning. I think that's important that we remain competitive. And, you know, when you said I compete with my GPS, I always say I'm even competitive in yoga. You know, it's the same way that's just the way we are. And if you look at any of those National Advisory Board members, if you came up with an adjective to describe them, and I'll do this in workshops, give me a word to describe those people, Julie Foudy and Brad Stevens, and they'll say champions, competitors, winners, successful. You know, all of those words are strong words. So we're not about just giving out the trophies. You know, we are about winning and competing. Other thing, this is a picky thing. Ruben usually points out the picky things and I don't, but I'm going to do it for the sake of Ruben. Make sure that you call us double goal coaches, not PCA coaches. So the terminology is like, you guys will be at, you know, double goal coach versus a win at all cost coach. So it's basically a double goal coach versus a single goal coach. The single goal coaches are just focusing on winning. Double goal coaches, rather than saying you're a Positive Coaching Alliance coach, you're a double goal coach. So that's just a little vernacular terminology thing that he usually points out. And then,
can I add to that real quick, Kelly?
Yeah, please, go ahead.
So terminology that I have developed in that, like we are now double goal coaches. For me, both as a coach and then as a trainer, the biggest piece of PCA is the alliance piece. Mm-hmm. So now that we are double goal coaches, we are part of this bigger alliance of positive coaches, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And you can also just say positive coaches. I think that's, you know, you're being a positive coach in their life. So I think that's great too. So yeah, I mean, I don't have any other, you know, specific comments, Heather, but I think again, as you watch this back, you'll be able to say, all right, I'm going to take that out. I'm going to take that out. I'm going to take that out. Okay. I'm going to spend more time.
I was doing it as I was talking.
Yeah. I'm sure you do. I mean, you're a seasoned, you know, you do this, so you know it.
My stories were half stories. It's like, that I get, like you said, why, you know, I didn't coach this way. And then why did I coach this way? That was like, I know where I'm at. Why did I bring, you know, this is a great story to have, but I told this other one. And so I'm like, let's cut that short and move on. And that's why I said it felt choppy to me, I think, is because I was cutting things where I was like, oof.
Yeah. So. And that's one of the reasons that we do this. You know, I think it's harder to do this on a video call than it is in a real workshop. But, you know, especially because you have us that are here. We know the material. We know what it should be. So if you can get through us, you're going to be fine in a real workshop. But it is also really valuable to have some pressure on you to do this. I mean, my most stressful workshops I ever do are in front of my peers. When I have to, you know, a big all staff meeting out in California and I had to actually do part of a workshop for my peers. I'm like ready to throw up before I do that. But I would go out to a group of Little League coaches with my eyes closed and not even think about it. So,
it's a whole thing. They know what we miss.
Right.
You know, that when you go out to these other coaches, or even, I mean, I was less stressful coaching at the U.S. or doing a clinic at the U.S. Lacrosse Convention with, you know, WNBA or you know, professional players and U.S. lacrosse players that I'm actually coaching, you know, teaching them, than I am when I stand in front of 8 of my own peers to go to give it, because they're like, And I know they know when I messed up.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I'm going to give you a choice. So the next time around, I mean, if you'd like to do the introduction again, for your sake, just to get it smoother and just to, again, have the timing down and have the questions down. If you would like to do that again, I'd be happy to have you do that again. The next step is to do the final, which is where we would have like Nicole and other people on to see if you're ready to go out and do it live. And that's where you would choose another principle. So you would choose Emotional Tank or Elm Tree of Mastery. But as I said, I'd be happy to give you another opportunity to go through the introduction if you want to see how well you would do it, cutting it down, making it a little bit smoother.
I'm going to assume by that statement that you'd like me to, so I will.
No, it's honestly.
No, I mean, I'm okay. I mean, I think it actually, what I had for Monday before I got it was worse to have 2 more days.
Okay.
Yeah, because I added some stuff. And like I said, I crossed out quite a bit. And as I probably go back and compare the notes, what I originally had and what I've crossed out are probably extremely similar. What I don't like is Ruben having the feeling that he had. But that could also go with talking more about negativity, being a little bit choppy. And, when you get choppy, you've got to then remember where you're going next. And, that's where the negativity was. So I can do either. I'm okay with the first part because I feel like I added way too much when I had these couple days to do, to kind of go back over it and wonder what I was missing and not missing. Like you said, the day that, you wanted me to do this, I probably would have been better off jumping in and doing this on the first day when I hadn't prepared it than I would have been taking the time to. Otherwise, I can do one of the other. I mean, the other 2 things, filling the Emotional Tank and the Elm Tree Mastery, are just those I do all the time anyway. So doesn't make a difference to me.
Okay. Well, then, I mean, I'm fine with you just going right to the principle then.
Okay.
Yep. All right. So let me know whenever you're ready to do that.
I will. Thank you. All Thanks for getting on, Nicole.
Thanks, Heather. Thanks, Nicole, for joining us.
Thanks, Kelly.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Sorry.